correspondence. Any commissioner receive any correspondence they want to talk about? Or Commissioner Cavan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a kind of a stack here, but I think probably all the commissioners received a letter from the Sportsman's Channel about a, they call it Hunt Fish Feed, and they're going to have a dinner, I guess it is, in Las Vegas in January. And did all the other commissioners get this? So maybe we'll have a rep, somebody attend or donate, make some donations or whatever. So as long as we're represented, that's fine. And then I've been getting notices from the Bureau of Land Management in Ely. Most of them concern wilderness and that sort of thing, and their announcements, and they're not really very specific. Their announcement that they're going to have public hearings and talk about wilderness and that sort of thing. I only get them from the Ely office. Is everyone on the commission getting those, or?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. I get them because that's where we are located.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm on their interested person list.
So they're not real specific. So it's I just wanted to know what, if anything comes up that I think needs to be passed on to the department or whatever, I'll do that. But they're kind of like announcement letters. There was one that was interesting. There was a notice of violation of the Wilderness Act, and it had to do with the University of Nevada cutting some trees in a wilderness area, and it's really kind of unclear who. It was almost like they were sending the citation to us, being the department, because it doesn't really state until you get way down in the body of this thing. I originally had torn it up and thrown it away, and then I decided maybe I better keep that. Were you aware of that, Ken?
No.
So it doesn't have anything to do with the Department of Wildlife. It's a study that they're doing, and they did some tree cut samples.
They are working on
rings
it, and I think this may be part of the pinyon juniper removal project, that they're looking at what happens to the water table. They're looking at the age of these trees, the whole variety of things. It's some really great research that's going on, actually supported by the cattlemen. And it's, they're finding exactly what we all know. You cut the junipers out, guess what? The creek comes up, and there's standing water in ponds and whatnot. So, it's pretty. I guess it'd be pretty easy to cut something in the wilderness because there's no stripe down the.
But you can't do it in wilderness.
Can't do it unless you have especially with mechanical.
Well, that was the violation. They did it with a chainsaw.
Right.
But okay, well, it really doesn't apply to us, but we get these things. So.
Could I have a letter for the file then, Mr. Cavan?
Yeah, I'll make a copy of it.
Oftentimes with the federal, with BLM or the Forest Service, if you write and say, I'm an affected interest and I want to be notified, and all your EAs, and specify the things that you want to know about, then you get on a list and they start sending that stuff. So somehow you might have commented to them, and you're on their list, basically.
Yeah. And then we all get, I think Commissioner Macbeth has brought this up before, we get these letters from Christopher Gill about range management, and he starts it off as, this is my third letter to you on this subject, and we've put him in the file before, but we don't really respond to him, and I'm wondering if maybe you should take a look at this and see if we should be responding to. I don't want him to come back and say we never do anything, but it has to do with department issues, not really commission issues. So,
well, yeah,
are you getting those letters as well?
Yeah, and once you give those to me, at some point, the letter writing campaign, you're just in a nonstop, deal. So,
yeah, I didn't know
if there's a new issue, we'd normally respond. So,
I didn't know if we should have a generic response go out so that he doesn't open his letter with, this is your third letter without a response.
I mean, fortunately, in my 30-year career in this agency, we don't get all that many letters, but you have certain individuals that want to beat a dead horse continually, no matter what you tell them, the same answer on the same issue time and time again.
He sent a lot of support material with his letter.
Yeah. So
And
nothing's going to make them happy.
Yeah.
So
I'll present that to the
we'll
file.
hook up.
And the, one of the Sportsman's Channel's letters to the file, just so that it's on record.
You bet.
And this one on the wilderness. Sounds like it has a little bit of interest, so I'll put that in the file as well.
Commissioner Rain?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a letter from an individual, but it would be more appropriate to issue that in public comment on item number 6, because it was specifically referencing that. But since it is, I'd like to give it in later, but I'd like to just read it later.
Sure.
At item 6 as opposed to right now.
Commissioner McMahon?
I just wanted to make a comment on this Christopher Gill letters. They seem to be, basically addressing habitat issues. In other words, what is the effect of livestock grazing on the habitat? And, they advocate, certain grazing techniques, as part of that. But he's addressing it to us. And I guess my question is that really isn't the habitat and the range conditions the federal agencies? Right. Nothing's going to happen, unless the BLM and the Forest Service, agree to, address his concerns. And I guess my question is that, is there some tangential relation to wildlife that he's asking us to comment on? I actually have not read the last letter. I did receive it, but anyway.
If I recall, our comments have been, we agree with you on certain things, and we're carrying that message, but it's the BLM and the Forest Service that have control over the habitat and the land management practices. But I don't know whether he's writing the same letters to the BLM and the Forest Service as he is to us. So we're kind of at our wits' end. What else can we do, except we do make comments along the way.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Howell?
I'd like to comment about the wilderness area meetings that they had. I attended the one they had in Ely, and while I was there, I picked up the maps of all the wilderness areas they're creating. It's extensive. There's a lot, and it's getting a little bit much as far as I'm concerned. It's really extensive. I got all these maps here, just goes on and on and on, and there's nothing to be done about it now. It's done. Just thought I'd put that in the record.
Thank you. I had one correspondence. I got a call from the Deputy Director of BLM in Elko, and Salazar asked him for any correspondence opposing the Wine Cup horse situation, if we had taken a position on it. And he had to get it in immediately to Salazar. And I told him that we discussed that at Elko, but we were under the impression it was they dropped it, because that's what Elko was telling us. And we had a letter from the ranch owner, and evidently he was going to sell it to Pickens. And when he found out that he can get $20 per horse per week or whatever it was, it's worth more money for him to keep it and do it himself. And so I don't know. I think that the Pickens part has been dropped, but I think he's going to pursue it, but the BLM wouldn't tell me. And he said the request was for 10,000 horses, and there's not enough AUMs from the Idaho border to Las Vegas to Ely to over here. AUMs put that many on there, but and I asked him if anything pops on it, I'd put it on the agenda and we'd take a position on it. And I did tell him that we did take a position on the other issue that was up with Reed. We sent a letter, and I said, I can't speak for the commission because we have not taken an issue. And they contacted the department, and the department hadn't taken an issue evidently. And so I guess the report went back, but that no sportsmen's organizations or the commission has not taken an issue on this, and which we didn't. We did not send a letter. So it might come up again, and it looks like it's still brewing, but he didn't know why Salazar wanted this. But I think we better be aware of this, and he did make a comment that if it does come back up, it wouldn't be proper for him to notify us, so we're gonna have to have somebody notify the department and the commission, so we can put on the agenda and take an issue if it does come back up again, but I just want to report that. He said there's nothing we can do now, it's already gone. Dave?
Chairman Lent, Dave Pulliam, Chief of the Habitat Division. Very quickly, the Wild Horse update on the informational items will cover the present situation with the Wine Cup Ranch.
Thank you. And that's all the correspondence I had. Anybody else? If not, I'll move on to the next item on the agenda. And it's Central Nevada Elk